Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm your host Josh. My co-host Corstian is on your right on the screen there. It's been a fascinating 8 weeks.
Mhm.
For me, it's been absolutely awful. I felt like things have been crashing down.
Uh-huh.
It's work and the Bears, so there's a lot to get into there. But I mean, I'm enjoying my work. It's fun. Just a lot of busy things going on, so
Mhm.
keeps me busy, keeps me up at night. But I enjoy what I do. Welcome back, guys. Hope you had a fantastic weekend watching football. Plenty of confident takes to go around for today and beyond. Um, sucks for Stephon Diggs.
Mhm.
That really got me because Texans were already down, and then to lose like a major player you had planned on getting this offseason
Mhm.
for this year's title run,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Mhm.
That's because they're the one team I thought can make noise against Kansas City.
Yeah.
And losing Diggs kind of puts a damper on that. So prayers out to
Mhm.
him. Hope he does well. Not saying the Texans can't do it, but that was going to be a guy that you could go to war with for sure against Kansas City.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Alrighty,
pretty unfortunate. It's, injuries in general have been kind of crazy this year. Um.
right? I've had Brandon Ayuk and Chris Godwin on my
Mhm.
fantasy teams, and both in the same week, season-ending injuries. Like,
Yeah.
luckily, I consistently drafted Lad McConkey late, and
Mhm.
he has saved me. Although the one week he went off, I benched him. So,
Ah.
um, yeah, I think he's gonna start to get more looks for sure. Like anytime a
Mhm.
guy like that goes off, he's gonna get more receptions the following week. So,
Mhm.
um, I'm ecstatic for it. Just sucks because that could have helped me. And
Mhm.
because Bowers is going off and Kelsey had a slow start, I started Bowers and Keenan Allen over Lad McConkey and Travis Kelsey. Had I had I
Mhm.
corrected both of them, I would have won my matchup.
Yeah.
But it's it happens. It
Mhm.
happens. That Anthony Richardson owner still won't refuse to budge. I traded him Derek Carr and a second round pick now
Mhm.
for him, and he's like, no, that's unfair value. I'm like, dude, he's not even starting on this team. Don't give me that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know when he's gonna start on this team if it's the
Mhm.
Colts. So, um, yeah, it's rough out here. I mean,
Yeah.
when you play Dynasty, the age arguments never ending.
Yeah.
Like, if you put yourself within, okay, let's not go there. Alrighty, let's go on a different rant. As a Bears fan, they deserve to lose that game,
Mhm.
and not because of the Hail Mary. There were a number of things that went wrong. The offensive play calling, first half, and the execution was horrible. I see people calling out Eberflus for not taking accountability for his actions. I get that, but it's also the players. The players couldn't execute simple plays and whatnot. And Caleb was
Mhm.
making irrational decisions, like taking a sack when field goal range on third down. I get
Mhm.
it. He's a rookie. He has to have those moments to grow from them. But gee, man, you got to give positive momentum for your team. And then to defense, like when the offense has momentum, like Tyreek Stevenson. I'm not going to talk about the Hail Mary play yet. Like when the Bears are getting it rolling, he just like taunts Terry McLaurin, 15-yard penalty, and you put Washington in the positive territory.
Mhm.
The Bears played Washington the best out of any team in the league this year. And they were holding Jaden Daniels like out to dry. Like Jaden Daniels was doing his scrambling ability and stuff, and he had one completion on Tyreek Stevenson to Terry McLaurin over 50 yards. That was
Mhm.
it. Other than that, the Bears clamped
Mhm.
Washington. Okay, they did everything they could, but then you saw the little mistakes add up and add up and add up. Then
Mhm.
before you know it, we're handling it to a backup center after DeAndre Swift got like 50 or 60 yards on one carry,
Mhm.
like kept us in the game with his first offensive touchdown.
Yeah.
And what do? We don't get the ball back to him. We could have we could have subbed in Roshan at that point
Mhm.
and given it to him if we wanted a physical guy carrying the ball. Like we didn't need to do that in a game where it's like the
Mhm.
margins are so small. Like if it's the first half, I totally get that play call because you can make up for it. But like in the second half and the fourth quarter, when you're just trying to continue to accelerate on the momentum, you just killed it. You killed it.
Mhm.
And then when they somehow survived that, got the ball back, had the seemingly game-winning drive, the defense slipped up. And part of the play call, like on the last play, I literally texted you, I'm done. And I didn't want to text you anymore after that. Because
Yeah.
the Bears didn't rush 5. Like, I think they were worried about Jaden Daniels like stepping up in the pocket and avoiding it. Okay, fair game. But they're 60 yards away from the end zone. Like, he is not going to run 60 yards straight with like 5 defenders to go. Like, in 5 seconds, he's not going to do that. He's looking to throw the ball. So I would have sent 5, forced the ball out quick. It wasn't going to get to the end zone anyway. Those guys don't have time to run back. You would have been screwed. Or box out every single defender. And that's what they had to do. Tyreek Stevenson, who was taunting the fans or like looking, I don't know what he was doing, looking at the camera and talking and just chirping. As the ball is being snapped and receivers are running in his direction, but he doesn't know because his back is turned to them. Ends up forgetting to box out Noah Brown, doesn't do his responsibility, and they lose. He inexplicably goes up to tip the ball when it should be Kevin Byard's responsibility to go and get the interception because everybody boxed out the other. And what happens? Noah Brown is standing all alone, waiting for the ball to tip right to him. So I say all of that to say it was a combination of things. This is a team with a rookie quarterback and with coaching decisions to figure out. As I say this, I don't think they should fire Eberflus. People are really quick to forget that the Bears were in the similar position at the first half of the season. This is what they do. First half of the season, they're like, who is this team? And then second half, they always turn it around. I think they'll turn it around from this. They're in a much better position to do so now that they started off better than they did last year. But boy, you cannot continue the way you did. You gotta this loss better be a catalyst for a run. Like it better be. Otherwise, there's gonna be like serious changes. And it's the same cycle. If that's so, because we always draft a rookie a year before the coach is about to get fired because we think is a quarterback. And then we end up firing that coach. We waste a quarterback's rookie season by giving him the coach that we didn't think was adequate at the end of it. Restarting the clock while not restarting the clock on the quarterback and not giving clean breaks for everybody. So, rant over. There's a lot gone wrong with the Bears, but it was not just on the Hail Mary play.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bears offense just didn't look like itself, or like the version of the Bears offense that we've seen most of the rest of the season, And
yeah, like at least the past 2 games, they didn't look themselves at all.
Because I feel like everybody was excited for this game because they thought it was going to be, like a proper duel between these 2 rookie quarterbacks, drafted 1 and 2, that are actually both playing pretty well. And then, I mean, like Daniels, he threw for like 200-ish yards, which isn't awful. But then you look at like the Bears side and like the offense seems so stagnant. I mean, outside of Swift, I mean, he was balling, but like just like the pass attack was just so stagnant that like that's where you win the game, like there's like, because when your opponent's putting it like up until, I mean, because the Bears defense more or less did their jobs, like the Commanders barely put up points, and it only looks like they scored a decent amount after that last ditch Hail Mary play that they got. And so, yeah, just like I do think a part of it is just like rookie woes with like Caleb Williams, where you like it's natural for younger quarterbacks to have these kind of bad games here and there, but yeah.
And he didn't have a bad, like by the end of the 4th quarter, he kept them in it. He was the reason why they were in it. Like the sideline throw to DJ Moore, like there was so many, like the clutch throws to Diontae, like the ball placement on the throw to Keenan Allen that ended up being a pass interference. He did phenomenal. He did phenomenal in the 4th quarter. But I mean, the sack and like field goal range, that's just decision making, man. Like you can choose to take that sack or you can throw it away. And he kept trying to keep the play alive when it didn't need to at that time. You still have plenty of time in the game. And he's gonna have to learn to do that. Like rein it in. Like he's gonna have to rein in as Josh Allen because he's too talented to make like boneheaded mistakes like that. And then for the defense too. Like run game integrity was awful. Like, and that was the only reason why Daniels was only able to get first downs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Tyreek Stevenson had a bad game. He had a really, really bad game.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's played better than this, but like it didn't help that he was like just chirping
Yeah.
and like he was just almost feeling them. So
Mm-hmm.
tough loss. Like this might be the loss that determines playoff seeding, and if the Bears get into the playoffs, to be quite
Mm-hmm.
frank, with how the NFC North is looking, they're neck and neck with the NFC West.
Yeah.
Where this should have been like a 5-3 record team right now. Like, and I give them all the credit in the world for coming back. That was very
Mm-hmm.
improbable to start with, but um, they have a lot of fundamental things they need to clean up.
Yeah.
Okay, rant over. We can talk about good stuff. Philadelphia Eagles, very impressive win against Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
This is one game I circled on my week to watch, and I'm glad I did. First half looked really good. Third quarter looked really good. Um, AJ Brown is a dog. Saquon, Jalen Hurts, like Eagles look completely different all over, and um, I mean, yeah. What else? What else can you say? They looked completely ready to play.
Mm-hmm.
The defense, I really love what I'm seeing out of Cooper DeJean. One play stood out where you have like a
Mm-hmm.
4th and 1 gimme kind of play to like Jamar Chase. But the Bengals have probably run that like 100 times out of 100. And usually if it was any other cornerback, Chase is getting like 2, 3, 4 yards easily or breaking a tackle and getting.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper DeJean literally won that game for the Eagles on
Mm-hmm.
this play. Um, absolutely phenomenal. Eagles just look completely well rounded and back in the Super Bowl for him. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, they've had it's been a weird season for them because like in like my head subconsciously I felt like they've struggled most this season. And I feel like they've had some off games, I guess, but like their record's still 5-2. So like when you look at it, they've been playing good enough football, you know. Um, but then I think this was, even though like the Bengals have been kind of sucking too, like I feel like this was still like a statement win against like a high caliber offense. That showed that, you know, the defense is able to like hold its own, and then obviously the offense does what the offense does here.
The biggest riser I'd say is Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith
Mm-hmm.
looks better and better and better each passing year.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you told me he was going contested catch on like a significant Bengals defender, deep 45, 40, 50 yards deep and nailing that, I could like during his rookie year, I would have not believed you. Like
Mm-hmm.
his growth has been tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
I think their defense they got a lot sharper.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see Darius Slay loving to play the game again. Like a lot of good things um, out of what we see from the Eagles. And
Mm-hmm.
the game was a lot closer than it looked, but they just knew how to close out the games. Like Zach
Mm-hmm.
Bond has been a significant move for them. Like Cooper DeJean, we talked about his tackles for loss. Like um, Nolan Smith, Milton Williams, like split sacks. Like they didn't get
Mm-hmm.
much pressure, like sacks as far as production, but they got a lot of pressures. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, all around, it wasn't just one guy.
Mm-hmm.
Saquon, 108 yards. Jalen Hurts, efficient, 80% completion
Mm-hmm.
percentage, and 37 yards on the ground. Like by AJ Brown standards, this is just like a regular game for him. He had like 5 receptions, 84 yards. Like he didn't get a lot of volume, but like made the most of it. So like
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't just one guy. Eagles are doing it from all fronts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool.
Okay, back to bad again. You saw Anthony Richardson. Rest of one play. That was just a weird game to watch. Like they've had
Mm-hmm.
chance after chance after chance, but then like it's like seemed like Anthony Richardson did not want to play in like the brightest of moments, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it pains me to say this because this guy has all the talent in the world. He's just killing himself. Like I was just listening to some podcasts, and it's like they're just like saying, "Dude, just lie. All you gotta say is like you had a sore hamstring or something, or
Mm-hmm.
like you needed to change your cleats, or like something happened. Like you didn't have to say I was tired. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think I think it was just a shot at the O line, It was a shot at the D line. It was shot like at the guys in the rest of the guys that have to go like 100% every single snap
Mm-hmm.
because other people rely on them to get it done. Like meaning
Mm-hmm.
offensive line, they got to create holes for screens, run games, and like time for the quarterback to find the receivers down the field. Like you
Mm-hmm.
think a lineman would just go up and sub themselves out because they're tired?
Mm-hmm.
No, and they exert more energy than probably Lamar Jackson does on
Mm-hmm.
a daily basis, just because of the physicality and the speed they got to play with. Like we've seen mobile QBs like Lamar, Kyler, like Patrick Mahomes. Like these guys have been playing like Josh Allen. They'll run around, run around, run around. They'll be tired too, but they won't take themselves out of game. You don't see
Mm-hmm.
that. That was really disappointing to see out of him.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like you draft him to be like this, you know, specimen of athleticism at the quarterback position, and like he's tapping out because he's tired, and like like it was just like a disappointing game just in general. Because I mean, you look at his passing stats too, and like because I think I texted you right, like at halftime or something. Uh, he was like 2 for 15, and I know like drops were a decent issue during the game, but like sure maybe you get like a couple of those drops back, you're still like 6 for 15, which is barely like a third of the throws you're completing, you know. But
I will
like,
say that though. Like Josh Downs, 9 targets, caught 4 of them. Michael
mhm,
Pittman only caught 1 reception off 6 targets. Alec Pierce only caught 1 catch out of 4 targets.
mhm,
Like you can't have drops like that though. Like I get it. I just I think I'm disappointed in him saying he's tired one play. I hope this benching's not permanent. I
mhm.
hope this is one of those signs where it's like you're getting benched from now until you learn your lesson, then you're coming back in.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's a team-wide thing because we saw this in Florida too. His receivers were dropping passes as well. Like
Mhm,
it's not an ideal situation for him, even with Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor was balling that game too.
mhm.
Like off of 20 carries, he had 100 yards and a touchdown. Like really, really good statistics out of him. But it's just odd. It's just odd. They like the Colts done right by Richardson, but they haven't built around him right. It's the oddest situation to explain.
Yeah. Well, like another thing too is the issues that Richardson had in college is very much what we're seeing right here now, where like he has no touch on the football. Like his only good throw is his deep ball. Because if you look at his throws too, he's like bulleting it to his receivers, and I mean that's a part of the reason why there were so many drops in college, was because like he'd throw it like hard enough, and like he just had no touch, and so like it was just hard to catch the balls that he's throwing, and like that's why I was concerned about his play style, is just because like we saw the glaring issues, and he definitely got drafted based off of his like pure athleticism. Because you think about how many total football games he started, like he really, I think if I wouldn't be upset or concerned if he gets benched for the rest of the season to like work on his football touch, because like people talk about like reps is what you need, but like reps, like the issues he's having right now is very much a, you can fix this in practice, like because like getting in-game timing, sure, that comes with actually playing the game of football, but like being able to hit guys in the flats, because they've stopped having their guys run those flat routes, is because he just can't hit those throws. And so it's like you need to have him just in practice learning how to make these basic throws with touch, and just not like bulleting it through to his guys. And like because when I look at him and his play style, he reminds me of just like Joe Milton, but with just like faster legs. That's kind of like my vision of Anthony Richardson. And like, are you saying his mobile upside gets him from Joe Milton's whatever, like 6th round draft stock to the number like top like 2 top 5 overall pick? Like, and so that's what my concern is like he has similar passing ability to Joe Milton, which results him in getting that late draft. But like, yeah, it's just annoying to see like how they like rushed him in, I guess, just because he very much is a project quarterback going into his draft. Um,
Yeah, this is the part where I disagree. I do think the person like it's shocking to me is like the personnel should be better than this. Like given the talent on the team, but like I think Downs um and I Mitchell need to continue to develop. There's no question about that. And it's you have a point on the touch, but like they're not gonna game plan that. Like they're not gonna set him aside like him time to work on that week to week in an NFL season. You're worried about the game plan. They'll go over the game plan like Tuesday onwards, and Monday's kind of like your decompression period and
Yeah.
recovery day. So it's like when you're in the season like this from week to week, it's really hard to work on a skill like that unless you take time out of practice to do that. And I don't see Richardson picking up on that until like later in his career. So this might be like an off-season kind of thing to do with the touch. But like
Mhm.
the thing I saw at him that I was like that has me still optimistic despite all the struggles this season is he was making quicker reads in the second half. And if you can build off of that and like just focus on like a run, play action type game, which is a deep play action game, you might be able to get away with it now. But like eventually you'll have to go through that quick read game as well to just confuse the tempo.
Mhm.
So it's I don't think moving to Joe Flacco moves the needle for them significantly. Right now, I think they're sitting at 7th or 6th behind the Broncos, like in the standings. But I think what's disappointing is like I kind of expected Indy to be more out of this, and they're not.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't know, I'm just because you look at Joe Flacco's stats this season, and like it feels pretty night and day. And like if you're not willing to address the glaring weakness of Anthony Richardson, like and you're expecting it to be just something fixed in later in his career, it's going to be a trajectory where he's not going to be a viable quarterback till he's like 28 years old. If that is like a thing where we hope that he gets better at his touch on his passes at that stage. Because like
But that's not a bad age. That's not a bad age because you look at Sam Darnold, you look at Baker and what they're doing now. That sucks. That sucks for the Colts because that's way too long of a timeline. Like you can't just sit and wait on your hands for a guy to get ready in like 6 years. But like
yeah, he's just like, are the Colts
that's
just gonna
not the
sit around
best
for
one.
yeah? So I'm like, are the Colts just gonna sit around for 6 years and suck until Anthony Richardson learns how to throw short to intermediate passes? Like, and so it's like something that if they're like thoroughly invested in Anthony Richardson, like, and like these like if
Excuse me.
like if they're thoroughly invested in him, like it's something that you should be doing on a week to week basis, even if it's like not as convenient. If you're thinking like, oh, this is our guy, we want to get him out there as soon as possible, like you got to have him like learn how to throw short to intermediate passes accurately. Because you look at the targets as well, and that's like you mentioned like, oh, like these receivers got to be catching more on these targets, but like you look at some of these throws and he's not even hitting the guy, and so it's like counts as a target, but it's just like pretty much an uncatchable throw towards Josh Downs or like Pittman, you know. And so it's like you can't just blame it all on, oh wow, these guys got to catch the ball more, because that's
Oh
the whole
no, I'm not trying to make it. I'm trying to say it's a bit of everything. It's a bit of
yeah, because
everything.
like the whole thing with like him in college is like, well, his receivers in college weren't very good. They're not going to be NFL guys. So when he's with an NFL team, we'll see the change. And then he's on an NFL team now with good, talented receivers that we've seen ball out. And like he's just not getting the connections right. But like he's a really nice guy. Like I've seen so many clips of him like doing great things. Like I hope these things get addressed for him, but uh yeah, it's like because I mean because you see like just the fact that he's had such little quarterbacking experience, both with college and his pro career.
This is
Like,
just his 10th career game too, mind you. So
yeah. And so, like, I think there's just a lot of behind the scenes work that needs to be done.
yeah,
And it's hard to get that properly done when you're just in games and, like, especially like with a game like this, sure, you can study from tape, but, like, I feel like this most recent game didn't really benefit him, like, in the slightest playing it. Because again, we know what his issue is, and in a game setting, it's hard to think about, oh, I got to put more touch on this throw, and like make it a habitual thing. Whereas in practice is where you really need to like figure out just the base mechanics of how to hit guys in the flats so that actually becomes an option for your offense, and then how to hit just shorter, like over the middle and like more intermediate throws.
I hear your point on that. It's an odd situation. I almost think the situation came from upstairs, like because they just didn't like the optics of him sitting out one play. I would still buy him in Dynasty. You're gonna get him at a really great price. It's just my league. It's just not rationally thinking at all. So like they just look at the age and just judge. But whatever. Yeah, I still see the ceiling and the talent potential on him. It's you just gotta get the basic things right.
Yeah,
and I think he will. I think he will.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Oh, with Joe Flacco though, it's kind of like a Browns topic here, but between Joe Flacco and Jameis Winston, within the last 7 games, 6 of them have over 300 pass yards. I was looking at Flacco stats right now, but 6 out of 7 games with over 300 pass yards. I'm like, that's crazy. Between Flacco
Couldn't go
and
a day without an episode without a dig at Deshaun Watson, huh?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, there were dropped interceptions with Jameis Winston, like the Kyle Hamilton one, right? That was like it was literally in his hands, but still, 300 yards is so nice to see.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of player Jameis is, though, and like love to see Cedric Tillman balling out. Like try to tell you about him, but speaking of the Ravens, they got a new receiver in town, Diontae Johnson. Wasn't he just traded from the Steelers to the Panthers? Well, not anymore. Just got traded back to the AFC North. So, yeah, that Pittsburgh Baltimore reunion is going to be pretty smooth and sweet. Baltimore is sending a 2025 fifth round pick to Carolina for Diontae Johnson and the 6th rounder. And yeah, pair him up with Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, and Rashad Bateman and Derrick Henry having a monster season. Unstoppable. Like now you have to give Zay Flowers single coverage, and Rashad Bateman has finally found his footing. Like they have a trio. They have a trio around Lamar. This is the best receiving core that they've had in a while.
Yeah.
And I really like this move for them.
Yeah, and then plus we're just seeing Lamar having his like outside of his first MVP year now, having his best passing stats I think we've seen since that point. And so just having this strong of a receiver core is really exciting to see.
Yeah. And seeing like Lamar's evolution in the passing game as well. Like we were just talking about Anthony Richardson. He struggled a lot with like boundary throws himself. Now he doesn't have that issue. And now he can throw those quick routes and timing routes, and like Diontae Johnson just adds a lot to like people forget he was compared to like Antonio Brown, like a discount Antonio Brown, like for the Steelers. Like now you have Zay Flowers, energy bug, Diontae Johnson, energy bug, great route runner. It's somebody good. Like people are worried about his hands. Well, that didn't stop Nelson Aguilar from going to the Ravens and balling out with them. So I'm not too worried about that. This still is going through Henry and Lamar Jackson. It makes it that much harder to key in on the run. So, well done, Ravens. Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, last topic. I'll let you take the lead on this. Bo Nix having a phenomenal stretch of football. What do you make of what he's doing so far?
Yeah. It's exciting to see. I don't feel like there's been like a lot of or as much coverage as I think there have been for like the other rookie quarterbacks with Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. I think a lot of people's narrative on Bo Nix came from his first 2 games where they just kind of thought, oh, Bo Nix is a bust, he sucks. But yeah, you look at his like last 4 games and there's 7 touchdowns and 1 interception. Like that's a pretty nice ratio. Yeah, but like and like you see this and like you look at the guys he's doing with this too, where it's like Cortland Sutton, who he balls out, he's good at making those circus catches, but then you got like Lil Jordan Humphreys is like your main number 2 guy right now. Troy Franklin, who drops like every deep ball thrown his way. And then Sean Bailey, who's actually making really crazy like sideline catches, which is pretty cool to see. But that's like a pretty ragtag team of guys, and even like the tight end room. Adam Troutman is your best player in the tight end room. Like
hey, no Adam Troutman slander on this podcast.
Yeah, I mean he balled out, so like I mean props to him. He had the crazy one-handed catch in the end zone. But like, if you ask most Broncos fans, the tight end room is probably the weakness on the offense. But yeah, so it's been exciting to see. I guess he'll face like a real test these next couple weeks, going against some pretty tough opponents. Because I think this week he's got the Ravens, and then it's the Chiefs, and then it's the Falcons. So it's 3 pretty big games. It'll be tough. It'll be tough wins if they get them. I'd be happy the Broncos get like 1 to 2 wins. I mean, 2 wins is kind of feels almost like a luxury with just like the schedule right here. But I'm happy Bo. He's balling. I believe.
Oh, you just had to slip that in there. Like I wouldn't notice. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I mean, their defense is supporting them well. Like that's all you can ask for. I think the running game is something you would like to see more of. Like because I look at these stats, it's almost non-existent. But Cortland Sutton being a mainstay is really important. Yeah, give the guy more help around him. I think he'll do some things. I know they've tried to work with that wide receiver room for a bit, but I haven't watched too much of him. But you laid out that touchdown to interception ratio. It's like that's exactly what you want out of a quarterback. Be able to manage the game and whatnot.
Then. Yeah, and
speaking of age, like being 24, like he's 24, right? 24, 25, like
yeah, he's 24.
I don't understand what the gripe was about that. Like, if you get 10 years out of a good quarterback play, it's worth the draft pick. I don't care who you are. Like that is worth it. So
yeah,
good job on you, Bo Nix.
Yeah, and I think a big part of this like change as well is just like just changing some of the play calling, because I feel like the first couple weeks of the season we were seeing a lot of like check down plays or a lot of like screens thrown at the like behind or at the line of scrimmage. But then if you look at this most recent Panthers game, granted like the Panthers are one of the worst teams in the league right now, but like there were a lot of throws where he was throwing like 10 plus yards, and that's kind of what when you got a rookie quarterback getting through learning an offensive scheme, you like to see those deeper passes and deeper attempts, because there's like he had 2 really nice deep shots, or one of them was kind of like a missed throw to Cortland Sutton deep over the middle that ended up incomplete. But then there was one for Troy Franklin. He was running up the sideline, and it was probably like a 30-ish yard pass, and it just like fell right through Franklin's hands. But it's like we're seeing more of that being put into the offense, which I think opens up things and builds his confidence on like at least being able to hit some of these throws, which is exciting to see from Bo.
Yeah, when I see him flush down the pocket just now and then running the bootlegs, he's doing a really good job of that. Like the one thing you want to see in quarterbacks is being willing to take the check down, and like the touchdown throw to McLaughlin. Like that was good. That's exactly what you want to see from a guy like that. So that's just the insights for me watching him play. I want to see what he can do in structure in the pocket when he's not flushed out. He's doing a good job like stepping up the pocket, then trying to get flushed out. So those are some positive things I see. It remains to be seen in these next 2 weeks what he does. Although I will say Baltimore's defense is not what it was last year. So could be some opportunity there for him to continue to shine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think just like the main positive that I got out of this was like when I'm watching him play, it looks like he goes through at least 2 reads on most plays where it's like, first guy's an open, then he's like looks for that check down or, like another second option. Whereas I feel like a big struggle like rookie or younger quarterbacks have is, it's a first read or bust kind of play where, if the first read's like covered, the play starts to break down and then the panic starts to set in. But he's seeming to like have some of that mental capacity to be able to like look past that first read and see if like somebody else is open. There's a couple instances I think where guys are clogged at the in the red zone, and so you see him just kind of like looking between all his receivers, just running around trying to find a guy, and so that's something that I'm excited to see.
Yeah, a lot of promise with him.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be happy as a Broncos fan for that
Yep.
after the Russell Wilson and contract experiences there.
Uh-huh.
That'll be it for us, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can follow us on our channel on Instagram here, mon.a.mission. Slow reveal right there. And I'm on a mission on YouTube, full length videos. You got to subscribe, dude, right now. Thank you guys. Corstian, before I let you go, taking a look at the schedule for Week 9, who are you liking as your underdog pick?
Let's see.
Tomorrow we got the Texans and the Jets.
Bro, Jets suck so bad. Oh my gosh. They
I
lost
don't
to
wanna
the
talk about them
Patriots with
today.
Jacoby Brissett, dude. Like,
it's a disaster, man.
it's
no
a
amount of moves will help.
nightmare.
Like, I'm just wondering what Salah's thinking in his head.
Yeah. Salah's head coach beats the Patriots 100%. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see Dolphins beating the Bills. It's unlikely, I think, but Tua back on his second game. There's a chance, the Dolphins kind of have a resurgence. We called it last week, though. I mean, albeit there was like that uncalled penalty, but still, I think it was a lost case at that point. But anyways, yeah. But I think that's probably what I'd go with, Dolphins beating the Bills.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers over the Chiefs. I think they're the team to do it. I think people are kind of downgrading them because they don't have Evans and Godwin, but they have the personnel to shut down the run game. They're sticky in coverage. They give any offensive line problems. And then from the offensive end, Baker Mayfield's playing out of his mind. He's just throwing it to the open guy. And they don't really have a good answer for Cade Otton. Cade Otton's been really, really good. He's been heavily utilized. And we're kind of seeing the fruits of the labor there. So give me the Bucks as an upset alert.
Yeah. Yeah, Bucks really only have to worry against the Falcons, apparently, when Kirk Cousins decides to throw 4 touchdowns apiece. Or 4
and 500 yards in one game. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. But that'll be it from us, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next week.
Peace. Yeah.